Imagine for a second that you're building this highly successful, deeply respected business, and you aren't just building it on, a few years of market research or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Your foundation is literally 5,000 years of ancient wisdom. So you have this incredibly loyal following. You're actively healing people in your community, and your whole foundation feels like completely unshakable.
Absolutely solid, yeah.
But then, almost overnight, you wake up to realize your biggest existential threat isn't, a rival healer. It's not a disrupted supply chain for your ingredients or
Oh,
something.
it's something entirely different.
Exactly. Your biggest threat is actually a slickly designed e-commerce algorithm.
It's just such a profound collision, honestly. Like, if you try to visualize it, it's this literal split screen in your mind.
Yeah, totally.
On one side, you have these ancient, really fragile, sepia-toned palm leaf manuscripts.
hmm
And then on the other side, you've got these glowing, high-tech digital market charts tracking, like, daily active
Oh
users.
man, what a contrast.
Right. It is the literal, incredibly messy intersection of deep heritage and the modern digital age.
Okay, well, let's unpack this because the sheer scale of the challenge here is just massive. So, welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here.
We're exploring a really comprehensive case study by Dr. Bendaru Srinivasa Rao. It's about a company called Jivaka Pharma. They're this 54-year-old Indian Ayurvedic pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, a real legacy player.
For sure. And our mission today is to look at how a mission-driven, locally rooted business tries to navigate an exploding, highly modernized global wellness boom, and how they do that without, completely losing their soul.
Which is not easy.
Not at all. It makes me think of an analogy. Like if you're a classically trained acoustic musician, how do you survive when the entire industry suddenly pivots to like electronic dance music?
Well, that's a good way to look at it.
Do you buy a synthesizer or do you just, I don't know, play the acoustic guitar louder?
I'd take that a step further, honestly. Do you even want to play the synthesizer if it means you stop being a classical musician entirely?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because that's the core dilemma Jivaka Pharma is facing right now.
Yeah.
But to really understand how they're handling these modern pressures, we kind of need to look at where they came from first.
Right, their foundation.
Exactly. Because this is not some agile tech startup that just pivoted into the wellness space because adaptogens started trending on TikTok.
Yeah, they didn't just invent a brand yesterday.
No, their roots are deep. They were founded way back on November 26, 1970.
And from what I understand, that date actually carries a lot of weight, right? It wasn't just like a random Tuesday.
Right. It was the feast day of Sri Dhanvantari.
The Hindu deity of medicine.
Exactly. So these two brothers, Dr. Samala Ramesh Babu
hmm
and Dr. Samala Lakshmana Babu, they founded the company in a town called Tenali in Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
And they even named it after Jivaka Kumarabaka, who was the legendary personal physician to the Gautama Buddha.
I mean, that is some heavy historical expectation to put on your brand name right there.
Oh, they did it very intentionally. It was basically a public declaration of purpose. They were committing to a life devoted to healing using natural resources.
Wow.
And over the last 5 decades, they've built a truly robust portfolio. Like, they have over 150 formulations spanning 15 different therapeutic categories.
Yeah, I saw some of these categories listed in the case study. Things like churnam, which are herbal powders, right?
Right, yeah.
And lahiyam, which are herbal confections or jams. But then there's basma, which was described in some pretty dense terminology. Can we demystify that one for a sec?
Oh, sure. So think of basma as this ancient method of mineral processing, because you can't just ingest a raw mineral like iron or zinc.
Right, your body wouldn't know what to do with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in Ayurveda, they use this highly complex process of purification where the minerals are repeatedly calcined.
Right.
Yeah, essentially heated to extreme temperatures and reduced to a fine ash. This process breaks the minerals down so that the human body can actually absorb them safely.
So there is this massive amount of technical, traditional science happening here.
Huge amounts, yes.
But there is a catch to how Jivaka operates, right?
And this is where the business strategy gets incredibly complicated. They are sponsored by the KVIC,
Right, the Khadi and Village Industries Commission. That's part of the government of India.
which, sounds very prestigious on paper,
Yeah.
but practically it means they have a strict rural development mandate. It forces this intense pricing discipline on them.
It really does.
Like, for instance, they sell their most popular product, this red tooth powder, for anywhere between 55 to 450 Indian rupees. And for context for you listening, 55 rupees is just a handful of cents in US dollars.
Yeah, it's incredibly accessible.
It's almost free.
And that accessibility is the entire point. Jivaka operates at this unusual intersection that, well, business scholars call it hybrid value creation.
Meaning what exactly? Meaning they aren't just selling products purely for profit. They combine commercial sales with deep public health advocacy.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, they offer free clinical consultations. They set up these formal partnership agreements, MOUs, with local pharmacy and botany colleges to teach students about Ayurvedic science.
So they're like an educational institution, too.
In a way, yes. They are fundamentally a public health advocate that's tied to a government mandate to keep medicine affordable for the rural poor.
Okay, I hear that, but I have to push back a little here.
Go for it.
It sounds like they are basically a certified B Corp, but with heavy government strings attached. Is this noble KVIC mandate of affordability actually like a pair of golden handcuffs?
Golden handcuffs, how do you mean?
Well, is it keeping them from scaling? If you legally have to cap your prices, you essentially cap your growth, right?
That is the exact structural trap they are sitting in. You nailed it. They're deliberately keeping prices low and focusing on their local community in Tenali. Meanwhile, the market around them has absolutely exploded.
So how big of an explosion are we talking about here?
The numbers are frankly staggering.
Yeah.
The Indian AYUS sector, which is Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and homeopathy, is projected to hit over $36.6 billion US dollars by 2031.
Wait, 36 billion? With a B.
With a B. And globally, the Ayurvedic market alone is eyeing over $33 billion by 2032.
Wow. Okay, so why now? What is suddenly driving a multi-billion-dollar rush toward this ancient medicine?
It's a confluence of a few major forces, really. Post-COVID, there was this massive consumer shift toward preventative health, right? Immunity-boosting formulations.
Oh, yeah, everyone wanted immunity supplements.
Exactly. Add to that a broader global trend of people just wanting plant-based, chemical-free healthcare. But crucially, you have heavy government backing.
Oh, the institutional push.
Yeah, the Indian Ministry of AYUSH recently received a massive union budget. We're talking nearly 4,000 crore rupees.
That's massive.
It is. The World Health Organization even set up the Global Center for Traditional Medicine in Gujarat.
Yeah.
So the institutional tailwinds are just huge.
So the pie is getting huge, but Jivaka is somehow getting squeezed out of their own space.
Yeah, they're caught in a brutal two-front war. From above, you have massive, fast-moving consumer goods companies, the FMCG giants.
Right.
Think of companies like Dabur and Himalaya Drug Company. These are huge corporations that sell everything from shampoo to snacks. But they also have deep pockets, massive distribution networks, and huge economies of scale in wellness.
And then you have Patanjali.
Oh, yes, Patanjali.
They came into the market like a wrecking ball, right?
They absolutely did. Patanjali brilliantly leveraged this Swadeshi or domestic nationalist marketing angle.
It was super effective.
From a pure business strategy standpoint, that messaging was incredibly effective at capturing market share. They aggressively compressed profit margins across the entire sector.
Basically changing the pricing expectations for consumers everywhere.
Exactly. So that's the pressure from above. Corporate giants with endless distribution and aggressive pricing.
Okay, so what is coming from below then?
A tidal wave of venture-backed direct-to-consumer, or DTC, startups. Brands like Capiva, the Ayurveda Co., and Sova Health.
Oh, the digital natives.
Exactly, the digital native.
They don't have 54 years of heritage.
No, they definitely don't, but they have incredible user interfaces. They capture urban, younger consumers with modern, minimalist packaging, automated subscription models, and, very slick digital marketing campaigns.
Wow.
So this leaves a mid-sized, regional, traditionally rooted firm like Jivaka squeezed right in the middle.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. They are like a beloved local indie band suddenly stuck between massive corporate pop stars on one side and viral TikTok musicians on the other.
That's a perfect analogy.
The corporate stars have all the money, the digital natives have all the algorithms. How does the indie band even get noticed?
Well, they realize they have to modernize their distribution. E-commerce isn't the future anymore. It's the absolute baseline present. Over 25% of Ayurvedic sales in India are now happening digitally.
That's a huge chunk of the market.
It is. So Jivaka does what seems like the obvious next step. They launch a WooCommerce website, jivakapharma.com.
Okay, they offer free shipping on orders over 299 rupees. They set up payment gateways. So problem solved. They're in the digital age.
I mean, far from it, actually. Solving the distribution problem created entirely new, cascading operational and regulatory nightmares for them.
Really? How so?
Well, the first issue is brutal price transparency. Suddenly, their traditional 55 rupee powders are sitting on digital shelves right next to highly optimized, heavily marketed DTC capsules.
Oh, right. You can just compare them instantly.
Exactly. But more critically, launching a website exposes their massive lack of data architecture.
Right. Because they just installed a checkout cart. They don't have an actual data strategy.
Precisely. Consider what the DTC startups are doing. They're using CRM systems, customer relationship management tools. They track every click. They personalize emails. They run constant A/B tests on their marketing funnels to see what makes a customer buy.
They probably know what you want before you do.
Pretty much. They know exactly when a customer is about to run out of a supplement, and they automatically send a refill reminder. But Jivaka just has a transactional website.
They just take the order.
Yeah. They don't know how to segment customers or predict repurchase behavior at all.
Isn't launching a transactional website without that data architecture basically like running a retail store blindfolded?
That is exactly what it's like.
You hear the cash register ringing, but you have zero clue who is actually walking through the door, what shelf they lingered at before they bought something, or why they decided to turn around and leave without buying anything at all.
That is spot on. But the digital rollout causes an even bigger issue, which is channel conflict.
Channel conflict.
Yeah. For 54 years, Jivaka built a relationship infrastructure. They relied on local pharmacies, health expos, and most importantly, loyal Ayurvedic practitioners who would diagnose a patient and write a prescription for a Jivaka product.
Oh, I see where this is going.
If a consumer in Tenali can just go online, bypass the practitioner, and get free shipping directly from the manufacturer, it hollows out that entire network.
It totally undercuts the doctors.
Exactly. It risks alienating the very physicians who built the brand's goodwill over 5 decades. Digital transformation is never just about launching a website. It's about managing channel architecture.
That is such a tough needle to thread. How do you democratize access for a new user in Mumbai without betraying the local practitioner back in Tenali?
It's a massive puzzle. And then there is the regulatory risk.
Yes. This part of the case study blew my mind.
It's wild, right?
On their website, Jivaka posted these amazing customer testimonials. There's one from a Mr. T. Arun who says their products helped treat his ulcerative colitis.
Right.
And another from a woman named Nisha regarding lumbar disc disease. From a modern digital marketing standpoint, that is pure gold. It is incredible social proof. You want people seeing that your product actually works.
But from a legal standpoint in India, it is a massive liability.
Why? I mean, if it's a real review.
Because of India's Drugs and Magic Remedies Act of 1954, the law is strictly designed to prevent companies from making false claims about curing serious diseases.
Oh, so they can't claim it's a cure.
Exactly. And the mechanism here is tricky. If a regulatory body sees a customer review saying, "This cured my colitis," hosted on the company's official website, they can interpret that as the company itself making a medical cure claim.
Wow. So the very tools that make digital marketing work, customer reviews, community feedback, social proof, are legally dangerous for a traditional medicine company to use.
It puts them in a terrible bind. And this raises an important question, which leads us right into the core of the R&D paradox.
Right, the science side of things.
Yeah, because it isn't just the distribution channel that the modern digital consumer wants modernized. It's the product validation itself. Consumers want proof.
They want evidence-based medicine.
Yes. Modern consumers, especially lucrative export markets in the West, they demand Western scientific validation. They want randomized controlled trials.
The gold standard.
Exactly. They want bioavailability studies to see exactly how much of a chemical enters the bloodstream. They want pharmacokinetic data.
But Ayurvedic epistemology, like how they actually understand and validate knowledge, is grounded in an entirely different tradition, right?
Completely different. Ayurveda relies on thousands of years of clinical observation and multi-herb synergies. The case mentions specific formulations, like Meshasringi churnam, which uses a plant called Gymnema sylvester for glycemic management,
Okay.
or Rosatylum for arthritis. These aren't just random leaves thrown into a pot. They are highly specific, synergistic blends of whole plants.
So what's the conflict there? Why can't you just run a clinical trial on the whole plant blend, just test the whole thing?
Because Western science is inherently reductionist. It requires isolating variables to prove causality. To run a modern double-blind trial effectively, scientists usually want to take that complex, multi-herb formulation and strip it down to a single active molecule.
But Ayurveda doesn't work like that.
No, Ayurveda treats the human body as a complex system requiring holistic solutions.
Okay, let me try an analogy here. Let's see if this works. If you take a beautiful, complex symphony, right, and you isolate just the loudest single instrument so that it's easier to measure its decibel level on a graph,
Yes, I see where you're going.
is it still a symphony? I mean, how do you prove a holistic tradition works using a scientific test that was fundamentally designed to measure single molecules?
The symphony analogy is perfect, honestly, because it highlights exactly what gets lost. Let's look at the mechanism of why isolating an active ingredient is problematic in herbal medicine.
Break it down for me.
Often, a whole plant contains an active compound that treats the illness, sure, but it also contains secondary compounds that buffer the harsh side effects of that active ingredient.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so if you extract only the active molecule to satisfy a Western clinical trial, you might create a drug that drops blood sugar effectively. But suddenly it causes severe stomach upset because you remove the plant's natural buffering agents.
So you essentially break the medicine to prove that it works.
Exactly the dilemma. Overstandardization reducing the medicine to that single active molecule destroys the holistic synergy that classical Ayurveda is based on. It denatures the treatment.
But if they don't do it,
Right. Understandardization means you look unscientific. You lose the skeptical urban consumer, and you completely fail to meet the strict regulations required to enter premium export markets.
what a nightmare. Jivaka is literally trapped between proving their medicine works to the West and keeping the medicine authentic to its roots.
It feels like an impossible balancing act. And they are trying to figure this out while dealing with a massive internal crisis regarding their own leadership.
The institutional memory issue.
Yes. Remember, Jivaka was founded by two brothers. Their encyclopedic knowledge of classical formulations, their intuitive quality judgment when sourcing raw herbs, their clinical positioning.
All that stuff is just in their heads.
Right. It's what organizational researchers call tacit expertise.
Meaning it's entirely in their heads. It's not in a manual.
Exactly. It is embedded in their daily lived practice. It's not written down in documented, formal, replicable corporate systems.
And the case introduces a framework from a researcher named Sharma from 2004, which looks specifically at family businesses. And that framework says that the transition from the founding generation to the second generation is the absolute highest risk inflection point for a company.
Without formal governance, structured mentorship, and knowledge management systems, a 54-year legacy could quite literally vanish the day the founders decide to retire.
Poof, gone.
Yeah. Jivaka's ultimate hurdle isn't Dabu, it isn't Patanjali, and it certainly isn't a WooCommerce plugin. It is institutionalizing their own genius before it walks out the door.
So they are at what the study calls a liminal moment, like a threshold. They can't just keep making small, incremental tweaks to their website or their packaging.
No, those days are over.
They have to make a fundamental structural choice about who they're going to be for the next 50 years. And the case lays out 3 distinct strategic options.
All right, let's explore the mechanisms of each of those. Option A is to deepen the heritage.
Meaning?
They lean hard into their KVIC roots. They double down on the traditional practitioner relationships in rural areas, compete purely on authenticity, and basically treat e-commerce as an afterthought, just a secondary order fulfillment tool.
They completely ignore the flashy DTC trends.
Exactly.
The risk there seems kind of obvious, though. They just slowly age out of the market.
Yeah, pretty much.
As their older, loyal customer base passes on, younger, digitally native consumers will have already completely migrated to the modern, slick brands. Option A feels like choosing a very dignified decline.
Which brings us to option B, the digital pivot. They go all in. They hire agencies to run aggressive search engine optimization. They build performance marketing funnels, invest heavily in content marketing, and build out that CRM, customer data infrastructure we talked about.
Fighting fire with fire.
Yeah. They try to become a full-funnel digital health brand to fight the startups on their own turf.
But then they risk completely diluting their artisanal 50-year-old brand. They alienate their traditional physicians. And honestly, asking an old-school, rural manufacturing company to suddenly operate like a Silicon Valley digital marketing agency seems like a massive stretch of their capabilities.
The DNA just isn't there.
Right. So what's the third option?
That leaves option C, research-backed premiumization. Under this strategy, they partner with top-tier universities, like the Indian Institutes of Technology, to conduct rigorous clinical trials on their highest potential formulations.
Okay, so they go for the science route.
Yes, they generate the hard Western scientific evidence. This allows them to enter premium export markets, get into high-end hospital channels, and basically charge a premium price.
But that takes years of research and massive amounts of upfront capital, right?
Huge amounts of capital, yes.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, if you were sitting in the CEO's chair right now? Because if you choose option C and you aim for premium export markets, aren't you essentially tearing up the original KVIC mandate?
Oh, entirely.
The whole point of the company, the reason they get that government sponsorship, is to keep medicine affordable for the rural poor. You cannot sell a clinically validated, export-grade, premium nutraceutical backed by an IIT study for 55 rupees.
You've hit the absolute crux of the strategy dilemma right there.
Right.
Every single choice requires a sacrifice.
Wow.
Option A sacrifices the future. Option B sacrifices their operational DNA. Option C sacrifices their founding public health mission.
It is an incredible balancing act. I mean, we are talking about a single company trying to juggle 5,000-year-old traditional texts, a strict government affordability mandate, ruthless modern e-commerce algorithms, and the reductionist demands of Western science.
All at the same time.
And they're trying to do all of this while figuring out how to download the founders' brains into a corporate governance structure before they retire.
It really is a masterclass in the sheer complexities of scaling traditional place-based knowledge in a hyper-modern global economy.
True.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We've talked a lot about adaptation today and what Jivaka needs to do to survive.
Yeah.
But if ancient traditional medicine is forced to change its distribution to fit modern e-commerce algorithms, and if it is forced to conform its very chemical makeup to fit reductionist single-molecule scientific trials just to survive commercially,
Right.
does it eventually cease to be traditional medicine altogether? At the end of this digital transformation, are we actually preserving the heritage, or are we just repackaging it until it becomes something else entirely?
That is a fascinating and honestly slightly haunting question to walk away with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the sources, and we highly encourage you to keep exploring this incredible, messy intersection of ancient tradition and the digital future.